let's talk weddings. By the way, I just want to let everyone know that this candle is because my cat just pooped and it's something fierce. It's pretty bad. This is something that, if you watched my last video, you'll know that I had got engaged last year, and so I will say, reflecting back and watching that video, there's a lot of things that I wasn't aware of, and I didn't know, I could not have ever imagined what my wedding would have been like. And everything that I had envisioned, it's not exactly how it happened, which I'm actually really glad for, because I think everything happens for a reason. And the pathway to our wedding was difficult, but it really worked out in the end. So I'm gonna share just a few tips on how we got to where we were for our wedding. When I last filmed, I was just engaged and we had no idea what we wanted to do. So the first thing I think for us was to really figure out how much we could afford. And for that, we had to, and what really people say is to find out your guest count. And that's for sure what we did. So we just sat down and wrote everybody who we wanted to come to our wedding. And the count came out to be 80. And which isn't bad. It's not a terrible number, but it's definitely a little bit more than we expected. We didn't expect, I think, that many people to, that we wanted to be a part of our weddings. With that number in mind, I decided to reach out and kind of figure out how much that would cost. Luckily, one of our clients at the salon was starting her wedding planning business, and I decided to kind of meet with her just to see what she thought and what I could do. And so I went to her and I said, I really want to keep it at 80 people and under $10,000. And she kind of just let me know that here in Miami, that's kind of almost impossible to do. She said that for that budget, you will really have to either cut down your wedding size, your party, or you'll have to increase your budget. She kind of broke down everything for me and let me take that home, and that wedding budget really helped me to figure out what I was willing to part with and what I was willing to kind of cut down on. It definitely made me determined to do this wedding definitely less than $10,000. We decided to look outside of Miami, and I will say it's definitely cheaper outside of Miami. We went to Orlando even to check out one place there. It offered a really great package deal for everything, which is food, the location for the ceremony and the reception, use of the entire grounds for the 5 hours, and that came out to be about $7,500, which isn't bad, and we could invite over almost 100 people, and in that, it wasn't a bad price. But when we really sat down to calculate how long it would take for us to save up that amount of money, it was going to take us at least 2 years. And luckily, our parents ended up helping us out, but they could only help out so much. So we decided to kind of put that on the back burner and at least have that to go back to. We didn't really want to wait and spend that much money on that one day, which everyone is entitled to their, own opinions and how they feel about that wedding day. It's a very special day, very important, but you really have to do what's best for the two of you. The next thing that I did to really kind of help me figure out what I wanted was I purchased one of the wedding planner books. This one is by Mindy Weiss, you can see. And she is like a celebrity, I believe, a celebrity wedding planner or party planner, and she has a lot of really great tips. And so I decided to buy this ginormous wedding book to really help me figure out what we wanted. And so it gives you like a week by week planner, so it kind of tells you what you should be doing within that time frame. Really detailed. So if you're someone who loves to plan but doesn't know where to start, this is definitely going to be perfect, because it's going to just give you a timeline as to when you should be figuring these things out. Now, for us, when I got this, we were still very early in our planning, and I had first planned for $10,000 for October of this year. And the more we talked about it, the more we kind of thought about it, I quickly threw that out. I said no. I did not want to waste that much money. So this, while it was very helpful, I ended up scratching most of what I planned right off the bat. And that we did, you know, while we're still trying to figure it out, we got engaged in July, and around August, I think around August, we had an engagement party, and my best friend got me this book, which is kind of like a more detailed version of the planner. And oh my goodness, this book, which I've ruined since in our move, but it has been, you know, perfect. If you have any question whatsoever about weddings, this is going to be that book for you. So you can either rent it, I think, or you can definitely check it out at the library. You know, it's just one day. It's not like we're gonna get married more than once, but for me, it was definitely worth the purchase, and I'm so glad that she got it for me. It gives you everything from, you know, planning your engagement party to planning the music and the dance and the lists, and it just gives you everything. And it breaks down further your timeline and what to do when. So for me, this really helped me figure out what I wanted and kind of how to get there. Come January, I decided to look at some dresses just to try them on and kind of see what I liked and what I could afford. So we went to David's Bridal, which I had read some mixed reviews about, but I decided to give it a chance because it seemed like the most reasonably priced version for us. So I even looked at some boutiques, and they were just way too expensive. I could not imagine spending over $1,000 for a dress. I couldn't. So we went to David's Bridal, and I will say I'm so glad that we did, because it just kick-started the whole wedding fever. It just really helped make me feel like a bride, and so I'm really glad that I did that. I will say that I wasn't prepared at all for going to David's Bridal. I didn't know what to expect, of course, and so when you're there, you kind of just double check. You look at all the dresses and you pick out which ones that you like in your price points, and she puts them all in a room for you, and you until you go to the dressing room and you get dressed. So you're in your underwear, and of course I have the worst luck. I don't know why, but I was wearing sexy underwear. Who goes to a fitting with sexy underwear? I did not know that the salesperson, would be there with you. I thought I'd be getting dressed by myself, but I was not. And you know, you're in no bra, just panties, and I was wearing sexy underwear, and there she's just getting me dressed. Definitely would suggest not sexy underwear. Unless you're comfortable with that, then by all means wear whatever you feel comfortable in. But I don't know what I was thinking. And I'm glad that she was there, because she knew exactly how to put on these dresses in order to make me fit. So when you're there, she kind of gives you an idea of the size that you should be. And so she said that my bust is a size 4 in dresses, and that my bottom half would be a size 6. And to tell you the truth, I'm actually naturally a size 2. And so to hear those sizes, I was like, what do you mean? But she was right. These dresses are really tailored to fit you perfectly, and I was definitely a 6 on the bottom and a 4 on top. We tried on the dresses. I went with my mom, my best friend, and my sister, and I will say that having them there really helped, you know, make me feel like a bride. And I loved having them there. They all got emotional when they saw the first dress that I came out in, And there was one dress that I loved so much, and it was actually the dress that I had envisioned myself wearing. It was a strapless A-line skirt, nothing too wide, but definitely full, and I just felt like a princess in it. And she put the veil on, and I will say, if you are thinking about veil or no veil, try it on with a veil. It kind of takes it to the next level. It definitely screams bride, and I just felt like a bride with that veil on. We definitely, you know, loved that dress, but we didn't leave with it. And the dress itself was actually $500. And to me, it's not expensive, but it's not inexpensive. So I decided to wait and kind of see, Charlie, please, no. I decided to wait and kind of see if I could do something a little bit cheaper. So around that time too, we were deciding what we wanted to do in terms of having our wedding. And I mean, we thought about it all. We thought, let's just do it by the court and just have a party. Like, we don't want to spend this much money, but we want to just, what was most important for us is to get married and to celebrate it with our family and friends. That's really what we wanted. And so we were really thinking about just doing it at the court and having a dinner afterwards. So at that time, we decided June 1st. It was 6 months away. I said, this is how much we could save in this amount of time. I will figure out what we can do, and I will make it happen. I honestly don't know what came over me, but that was it. I said, this is what we're going to do. This is how much we're going to spend, and this is it. So with that in mind, I decided to, you know, expand my horizons and kind of look a little more in depth as to what we could do. So I decided to start looking at restaurants. And for me, that was actually a really good, don't know why I didn't think about it, but it's a really great place to start, because if you don't want to spend a lot of money, but you still want to have your ceremony and eat with really good food with your family and friends, that's the place to go. I sent out emails everywhere asking, you know, for if they did weddings, what was their price range per person, what was included, and things like that. So I just kind of went through their list and to see that price, and I knew the price that I needed it to be per person in order to make it work. Also this time we decided to cut down our list from 80 to 50. And you know, it's actually pretty difficult to cut down that many, and a lot of people told us not to cut it down, to just invite the 80 people, and you know, those 30 won't show up. I'm actually kind of glad that we didn't, because in actuality we invited 54 people, including us, and 50 showed. Yes, you know, it may happen where those 30 people will not show up for whatever reason, but in our case, that was not the case. And I just felt like most of the people that we invited were going to come. Around that time, I was still trying to figure out also my dress. I'll come back to where we decided to actually do our wedding. I really tried to work on figuring out where I wanted to get my dress. My mom got us a lot of books from the library about discounted weddings and what to do and all the tricks of the trade. And so I went to our local vintage shops. I went online. I really tried to find what would be the best for me. And all the shops that I went to, everything was $500 or $400. And it just wasn't something that I was willing to pay. And I went online. I went to JJ's house, and I've read really good reviews. It is a discounted store where they sell like evening dresses and things like that. And I found one dress that I absolutely loved that really fit my personality, and it was $130. And so for me, that was it. I was like, that's the dress I'm getting, that's the veil I'm gonna wear, and I ordered it. Now, I still wasn't keen on getting a size 6 because I was, for some reason, determined to get a size 4. And so I ordered the size 4, and this was a tight-fitting dress too. And Lord help me, that dress did not fit my lower half. It fit, but it wasn't very flattering. And I mean, those pictures of my me trying it on, I was like, this is not what I want to wear. This is not the look I want. And I felt terrible. And I should have just returned it for a size 6, but for some reason, the bust at a size 4 actually was really big. And I mean, like, not cute. So I decided, you know what, I can lose a few pounds. And I'm just gonna keep the size 4. And so I went to a tailor who was somebody that I knew, and she could make the alterations, and it was just about 80 bucks. And she took in the size, but the one thing she couldn't do was let it out, which I was a little disappointed, but I figured it's gonna be fine. My concern was that there wasn't going to be much give in the dress, and I was afraid of it ripping. I mean, who wouldn't be? I was super afraid of that, but I decided to stick it out and do it because I only needed to lose a few pounds, and I'm like, super easy. But we had 6 months to go and said it was fine. So I bought my dress, and that was that. So dress done. For his tuxedo, we decided to go with a local place where one of his best friends got his tux. And since we were going for a more rustic theme, we went a little bit not traditional, and we got him a deep gray blue suit, and I mean, it looked gorgeous. Oh, he looked so handsome in that suit. But I really liked the idea of him being in this blue because he loved that idea, and the groomsmen in dark gray. And then slowly our colors came together. I really wanted, I liked the light minty greens with a blush and cream, as well as gray. Those colors for me were just like perfect. It just screamed summer to me. And those are the colors that we ended up getting. So for him, he wore a light lime green tie and a white shirt with an ivory vest, I guess. And the groomsmen wore white ties with their gray suits. And so I feel like he really stood out with that. And his accents were dark brown, which I feel really tied in that rustic look. For my girls, we had two, I had one bridesmaid and one maid of honor. And my husband had one groomsman and one best man. And so my girls were in this like misty blue gray dress, and they each got to pick out their own. All I requested was the color and the length. I wanted them to wear floor length gowns. I was pretty chill. I'm not really into telling people what to do. I wanted them to look good and feel good. That's all I wanted. We were getting about 5 months in, and we needed to find a place. And so I was looking at restaurants, and one I really liked, and I knew their food was good, and that was important, was the Peacock Garden. It's a little cafe, and it has a really cool look. Outside has little iron tables. It looks super intimate and vintage, which I love. And inside they have, it's like a Key West feel. There's a lot of Cuban elements, and you know, my husband is Cuban, my father is Cuban, and I felt like that really, you know, showcased who we were as a couple. So in the restaurant there is a room that is closed off to the general public, and it is for events. And once I walked in there and saw all the decorations already, and I said, this is it. The price was perfect. We were able to keep it under $3,000. I feel like so proud of that. To keep it at $3,000 for 50 people. We ended up not doing wine. We didn't do beer. We didn't do any alcohol. The reason for us, we do not drink. The only thing I drink is wine, and on occasion. And so it was really out of our budget. It was going to be an additional, of course, $1,000 and or more actually, and we just couldn't afford it. So there was a really cute bar right across the way, and we said that's going to be fine. My family's going to be okay. So the other thing, when you're looking at restaurants, the timing is a little bit different. So a traditional wedding is about 5 hours. You do, you know, the ceremony or your pictures first. You do the cocktail hour where you do your pictures, a little more your formal pictures. Then you do the toasts, you eat, and then you dance for the rest of the night. And we really did want to do that. That was something we really wanted, but when it came to the restaurant that we chose, they did not allow live music. They didn't allow loud music, actually. So we couldn't afford a DJ anyway. So we decided, you know, we'll just have a little boombox and it'll be fine. We'll just, you know, dance. We created a playlist for 3 hours, and we were like, you know, that's gonna be enough. We wanted to just do the basics, and that was the ceremony. We wanted to eat really good food, have our toasts, and have time for at least a dance or two. Once we figured that out, you know, all we had to do was pick the menu. This is what we wanted to eat. This was it, and dessert also came included. So we were like, done, perfect. We did want to get a cake, so we did do some cake tastings, which I will say was a lot of fun. Out of all the things that we did, cake tasting was definitely the most enjoyable. And so we only went to 2 places. The second place was, the first one was okay. I will say this one did not really give us like fresh cake. And if you're going to do a tasting for something that I'm going to buy from you, it better be like the freshest thing that you've ever done. And so the cakes just were dry and not flavorful, and I wasn't really impressed. So we did not go with that place. And I really feel that, you know, you should, I know first impressions may not always be the best way to judge somebody, but you really do need to kind of take in that first impression, because it is their job to impress you. You can go anywhere to get your cake, and I'm choosing to come to see you. Even though it is free, you should give your best, and they didn't. So we decided to really check out this second place. Their pricing, however, was pretty good, but we decided to, you know, keep looking. And the second place we went to wooed us. It was a tiny place, much smaller than the first, but their cake, you could smell it being made. Like, you know, they were making those fresh batches, and you know, they really sat down with you to explain what they do and their pricing and everything like that. So for us, that kind of sold us, and the cakes were delicious. So we decided to go with a little 2-tiered cake, the naked cake, and just put fresh flowers on the side. And I think it came out to be $140, and that's with shipping. And so we were sold. We decided to go with hazelnut and rum. One of my friends from high school was starting her photography business, and she had asked us, actually before we had got engaged, to do a full engagement shoot, and we said, no problem, of course, I'd love to help you. And those shots came out gorgeous, that I will show. And so we decided to ask her to be our wedding photographer. And so she gave us a great price, and I knew she was going to do a great job, so that was a no-brainer. She was so professional, so amazing, and she's so sweet. So I knew we were in good hands, and the photos came out gorgeous. And I think that's just the most important part. We wanted to really capture our day, and she really did that. Now, most people say not to hire a friend, and I actually disagree with that. I feel it's one day. It's not that big of a deal, and if you trust that person and they do a great job, I think you're gonna be fine. You know, it's just, of course, it's up to you. If you don't feel comfortable, don't do it just because you're gonna get a discount. But I really felt that we chose the people that we did, and they did a great job. The other thing we did too was invitations. If you saw, I was raving about Minted, and I do love Minted, and they are just high quality, but they are also highly priced. I wouldn't say too crazy, but they are pretty up there. And so I had one of my friends who, my coworkers, who was trying to start up her business as well. And so she came up with little mock invitations for us, and we decided to do our invitations and our stationery with her, and they came out perfect. We only had a few things anyway. We did not do programs, we didn't do name cards, we did just table numbers, and so we just kept it really simple, and she did everything beautifully, and she did the colors we wanted, and it was just gorgeous. So I definitely feel, you know, if you trust your friends and they, you know, do a good job, it should be totally fine. Don't worry about that. And so we pretty much were getting everything done. The next thing that we kind of had to figure out, at least for me, was who was going to do my makeup. Everyone was telling me to hire somebody so that I can be chillin'. And I really thought about it, and I couldn't do it. I wanted to be the one to do my own makeup, and which people thought I was crazy, but I wanted to do my family as well. I know it's a tall order, but for me, like, I just knew that that day I just wanted to spend it beautifying my family and myself. And I knew that I wouldn't be happy if somebody else was doing their makeup. I wanted it to be me. And I also, I mean, I do their makeup all the time. Like, these are faces that I know and love. So who else can make them look beautiful but me? I will say that that really made the day special for me. So if you have a talent as well and you feel that you want to showcase it, do it. I feel, you know, it's your day and you should do whatever makes you calm. And to me, doing their makeup and my own makeup made me calm. So that I definitely don't regret that at all. And so that was pretty much it. We had everything in order, and now it was just time to wait. And I will say it was definitely stressful, kind of going through all of that, telling people, no, you can't bring your 4-year-old daughter because we're not having children under 12. And so, you know, that kind of back and forth was really hard, but, you know, it was for a reason, and we decided that, you know, this is what we wanted, and we'll have to, you know, go through with it. And the emotions are very high. Everyone involved in your wedding cares about you. You just have to remember that, because you may want to kill people, and it's out of love, of course, but you know, all of that anxiety and, you know, the pressure to kind of entertain people is pretty high. And so you just have to remind yourself that they love you, you know, so it's gonna be okay. I will say there were a few fights that, you know, I'm a very strong-headed person, and so I fight for what I want. So I'm sorry if I was mean, but I do feel that everyone who helped me in this, you know, deserves a ginormous thank you. And so I will kind of get back with what's happened after, and so that you can kind of see what we did leading up to the day. But I kind of wanted to give a little bit of advice and help, and I hope this helped those of you who are trying to really do your wedding on a budget, because it can be done. You do have to make some sacrifices and decide what you find important, and really go from there. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon, and we'll do a part 3 where I go from days leading up and the day of. And let me know if you want to see my makeup look below. I'll show a picture, and you guys let me know if that's something you guys want. I would love to share it with you. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.